good morning. What can I do to help you all today?
Because we have a motion for a temporary order, and the major issue we are asking the court to order the husband to vacate the marital home and pay some interior attorney's fee. Those are the measures. There are other stuff, but those are the main things.
Okay.
Connor, I'm sorry, I was unable to hear him of what he was asking for, and I don't know if it was clear to you or if it's just me, but if I could hear that again, that'd be helpful. What he was asking for, I have been unable to communicate with him.
Mr. Duque, do you want to just repeat that, please?
Okay. Judge, the wife is asking that the husband be ordered to vacate the marital home, and he paid an interior attorney's fee of $15,000. We have other proposed and requested relief. It's about 12 of them. I can read all of them now if it pleases the court, but these are the two major things we are requesting the court today.
Okay. Ms. Lucio, you said that you all haven't had a chance to talk. Would it be helpful if you all had a chance to talk?
I thought it would be. We haven't received a requested relief, nor did we file any. It was very simple, but I think it might be helpful if we had a chance to talk. I don't want to lose our chance for a hearing, so maybe 5 minutes or so would be helpful if he feels it's something that would work.
Mr. Duque?
I don't object to talking to her.
Okay. All right. I've created a breakout room so you all can just click on it.
Okay.
And you can take as much time as you need to talk.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
When we're done, do we just, you can just
move
move us back, or?
You just
that's it?
exit out, you'll come back to this main room. I'll be working on orders.
Okay,
I'll be here. My screen may just have I may just say that, oh, here, I'm here.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
don't know, we're the only one left here. Okay.
You are not.
And this more too much. Okay, no, wait.
Okay, where are you all at this point?
I asked for dates with him.
We don't, it looks like we have an agreement to mediate, but that's about as far as we can get.
Okay. Well, I can give you all 15 minutes per side right now on the issues that are set. Are you wanting to mediate before that, or do you need to have a hearing right now?
I'm okay with 15 minutes. I mean, it's pretty limited request on each side, it seems.
Mr. Nduque?
20 minutes is fine. If you make it 20 minutes, I think 15 might be.
I can't because of other settings.
Hmm?
I can't because of other settings.
Okay.
So I'll give you all 15 minutes right now.
Okay.
And would both parties please raise your right hands? Do you both solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Nduque, you may proceed.
I call Maria Morales, tell the judge.
Marella Morales.
Okay, you are currently married to Jose Quiroga.
I am.
Okay, I'm gonna hold on. Let me see. You are asking the court today to order your husband to move out of the marital home. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What is the location of that marital home?
201 Aston Drive, Richardson, Texas 75081.
Okay. You have prepared what you want the judge to rule in this case today, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull it.
Your Honor, and I would object to them putting any evidence in per the rule or the most recent rule that would require an exchange of exhibits. For that same reason, we didn't prepare one today because we didn't get ours in timely.
Judge, this is just a requested relief. I'm not putting any other thing else here, which will be a summary of our testimony.
Okay, I'll allow a summary of requested relief.
Okay. Screenshot. Judge, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, you have prepared, and just give us 15 minutes, so we don't have a lot of time. You have prepared what you want the judge to do here today. Is that correct?
Yes.
Would this be a summary of your testimony regarding that?
Yes.
Okay. One, you're asking the judge to award you the house on 201 Aston Drive in Richardson, Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you want your husband to vacate that house.
Yes.
Okay. And then you are asking how much is the mortgage?
2418.
And you're asking the court to order your husband to be paying half of the mortgage. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then is it also true that your husband withdraw some money from the joint account?
Yes.
How much did he withdraw since divorce was filed?
$15,000.
And you're asking the court to order him not to withdraw any money from that joint account anymore.
Yes.
And you also, and your husband, is it true also that he have a safe deposit box in the house?
Yes.
Okay. Tell the judge you and your husband withdraw money from that safe deposit box in October last year.
Yes, we did.
How much was in that safe deposit box October last year when you guys withdraw money?
$54,000.
Tell the court how much did you guys withdraw?
$10,000.
So the balance will be $44,000.
Correct.
And tell the judge how much does your husband get paid on weekly basis minimum?
$1,200.
Okay, break it down for me. Does he get some cash, and some check?
Yes.
How much does he get paid with check?
$300 to $500 a week, and the rest cash.
So that would be $700.
Yes.
Okay, $500 weekly cash.
Yes.
700 check.
Yes.
So he make $1,200 weekly. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. When he carries that money, tell the judge, does he deposit it in the bank or do he put it in the deposit?
He puts it in the safe.
So from the time since October last year, if he's putting it on the safe deposit, is it true that it's going to be about $41,600?
Yes.
Okay, if you add it to 44,000 that was left when you guys withdraw money last time, how much total should be in that safe deposit box?
About 85,000.
Okay. So are you saying that he have this money and went about and withdraw $15,000 from a joint account?
Yes.
Okay. So have your husband messed with some of your social network like Facebook?
Yes, he has logged in several times.
He have a password to that?
Yes, he does.
Are you asking the court to enjoin him from touching from messing with any of your social media?
I am.
Okay. You have a dog. How many children do you have?
2.
How old are they?
15 and 11.
Are they enrolled in Richardson Independent School District?
They are.
Have your husband been harassing them?
He has.
Are you asking the court to enjoin him from harassing your children?
I am asking.
Okay. Right now, you find a new job, right?
I did.
Does that job require you to travel to weekly to Puerto Rico?
It does.
Okay. And then where are your children enrolling in school here?
RIC.
What?
Richardson Independent School District.
Okay. Is that the only house address they know at this time?
They are.
Okay.
That's their only address.
Okay. And you're asking the court, among other things, to allow you to stay in that house.
Yes.
And your children to stay there with you.
Yes.
Tell the judge how who put the down payment for that house. Be fast, we got 15 minutes.
We both did.
Okay. After you marry your husband, did you and your husband open a joint account?
I opened it before.
Okay. So how much was in that account before the marriage?
$12,000.
Okay. And before you and your husband purchased the house in 2017, is that correct?
Purchased in 2017.
You gotta be moving fast. How much expenses did you make prior to the down payment of the house being paid?
$3,050.
Okay, if you add it to the amount you have in the joint account as your private money before you marry him, how much would that total?
About $15,897.
When you and your husband decide to buy the house, did you guys agree how much you guys are gonna put in that joint account?
Yes.
How much to each?
$15,000 each.
Okay, as a result of that, did your husband withdraw money somewhere and put in that joint account?
He did.
How much did he withdraw to put in that joint account?
$15,000.
Which is exactly the same amount of money you have.
Correct.
Okay, how much was the down payment for the house?
1%. So
Is it $14,000?
about $14,000.
We only have 15 minutes. So you guys can move fast. Since the time the house has been purchased, who has been making the mortgage?
I have.
Have your husband been putting his own money in a safe deposit box?
Yes.
Tell the judge, why is he cashing this money and putting in safe deposit box?
Because he's trying to hinder it from child support division.
So there is a child support order against him.
Yes.
So by him putting that money there, the government or the attorney general wouldn't know how much he's making. Is that what it was?
That's what it is.
Okay. So as a result of that, you have been paying mortgage since 2017 from your own job up to this moment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that part of the reason you're asking the court to allow you and your children to stay there.
Yes.
Even though you travel, your children are still there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And by the way, do you have any place you can go if for some reason you are not living in that, your children and you are not living in that house?
No, I do not.
Okay. Let's talk about your relatives. You have a parents here, don't you?
I do.
Okay. Your parents, how many bedrooms do they live?
3 bedrooms.
Okay. Who else live in that house with your parents?
My brother, my sister, and my nephew.
When you say your brother and sister, are they adults?
They're both adults.
So your parents live in one room and your two siblings live in 2 different rooms. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So there is no space for you to live down with your children.
Correct.
Okay, you have another relative here, your sister, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Tell the judge, does she live in a house?
She does.
How many bedrooms does your sister?
3 bedrooms.
Okay, how many kids does he have?
4.
Is there 4 grown-up kids? Do they have their own room?
They have their own room, 2 and 2.
2 in one room and 2 the other in one room.
Yes.
So you are saying also that this your sister, there is no space for you and your children to live there.
Correct.
Let's talk about your husband. Your husband have a father, isn't that correct?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, he worked for his father.
Yes,
His father lived in how many bedrooms? Tell the court.
3 bedroom,
How many people live in that 3 bedroom?
2 adults,
Who are these 2 adults?
his dad and his stepmom.
Okay. So his stepmom and his father live in one room. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
So are you telling this court there is 2 available rooms where your husband can move into his father's house?
yes,
Okay. And he worked for his father.
yes,
Okay. His father is the one that pay him $500 cash and write $7 check. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. He have a good relationship with father, I will assume.
Both his parents.
Okay. Let's talk about his mother. And where does his mother live?
In Carrollton,
Okay. How many bedrooms?
4 bedroom,
How many people live in that 4 bedroom with his mother?
2,
Is it
the mother and his brother.
his mother and his brother? So you are telling the court there is 2 additional rooms where your husband can move in?
Yes,
Okay. Did your husband tell you the reason why after this divorce was filed in April, did he move that momentarily?
he's been coming in and out, hasn't been staying there.
When you say coming in and out, approximately how many days does he stay there during the week?
1 to 2 days a week.
Okay. Initially, he was trying to move out. Isn't that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Did he tell you the reason why he decided not to move out?
his attorney told him not to move out.
So he is moving back there because his lawyer told him. That's what you said.
Yes,
Okay. So who is really the person that legitimately want a place she and her children will stay in now? Is it you or your husband?
Object to hearsay.
You can answer the question between you and your husband.
I can hear you, Judge. Do you sustain it?
She can answer the question between her and her husband. That was the question you asked.
So she can answer. That's what you're saying, right?
She can answer.
Okay. So
I'm objecting to her saying what he said that I've said.
it's too late. The objection is untimely.
So he moved on to a different question.
Okay. So Ms. Morales, so before the judge today, who really have a legitimate reason to stay in that house?
I do.
Who really have 2 other places she can move in when ordered by this court?
He can move somewhere else.
Okay. Judge, how many minutes do I have left? I don't want to use all of them.
You have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes?
Yes.
Because you testified a little while ago, he took $15,000 from the joint account. Who? You can't be shaking your head. The judge is not here.
Yes,
Okay. Who has been the one that have putting her paycheck in that joint account?
I am.
And he's putting his own on a self-deposit.
Yes,
Are you asking the court to order him to pay you $15,000 in interim attorney's fee?
yes, I am.
And that represents this one he removed from joint account he wasn't contributing to.
Yes,
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Lucia?
Yes, Ms. Morella, let's talk about where you live during the week. You live in Puerto Rico all week long, correct?
I do 4 days a week.
And are you saying that every single weekend you've come back to the US?
I have.
And so you're going to be working in Puerto Rico for the next 60 days, aren't
No,
you?
ma'am.
How much longer do you have to work in Puerto Rico?
That was my last week. It was a contract. It's an implementation contract.
Okay, so for the last 90 days, you've lived in Puerto Rico, isn't that
No,
correct? How long did you live in Puerto Rico?
Judge, objection, assuming that fact not in evidence. She's assuming that she changed her residence to Puerto Rico. She never tested.
I'm not saying a residence. I'm just saying it was represented earlier that she's not in the US during the week.
You're gonna ask her how many days she stayed in Puerto Rico. You're asking her how long she lived there. She doesn't live there.
I don't live there.
Ms.
How
Lucia?
many days? So let's go to last week. How many days did you stay in Puerto Rico?
Last week, my children and I were there for 5 days.
Okay, and the week before that, isn't it true that your children have been residing with your sister during the week, and on the weekends is when you come home? Isn't that true?
Only one of my children is child.
But none of your children have been staying in this house during the week, have they?
My son has
How old is your son?
15.
So he stays in the house while you're gone in Puerto Rico?
Yes, and his father comes and checks on him daily.
Okay, but my client has a daughter that had her own room in this house, correct?
That's correct.
And you moved all of her stuff out to the garage, didn't you?
She is sharing now with my daughter.
The question was, is you moved all of her stuff out to the garage, didn't you?
There is a replacement bed in that room.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to object to non-responsive.
Sustained.
Ma'am, you moved her things out to the garage, didn't you?
Only her bed.
And so after that, she's not been able to see her father to come stay because of your behaviors at the household. Isn't that correct?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. You can answer it if you're able to.
She has came to visit her father.
She has not been able to visit her father at any point when you're there, correct?
She has.
But isn't it true that your children, that you've been gone for the last 90 days, you've spent more time in Puerto Rico than you have in Texas?
I have only been gone for the last 30 days. That's when my contract began.
Okay,
My
but in
contract
the
is
last,
90 days.
so you were only had a 30-day contract in Puerto Rico?
The company is in Puerto Rico. It's a 90-day contract.
And how many days have you
And it
had to
has-
work in Puerto Rico?
Because you haven't finished answering the first question. Let her answer.
So you said it's a 90-day contract. How many days are left?
60, which are not required to be worked in Puerto Rico.
Okay, the last 30 days, how many days have you been in Puerto Rico?
15.
And your husband has been the one staying in the home, hasn't he?
No,
Well, you haven't been here, so you don't know where he's staying, do you?
I do.
And your children, when you're gone, isn't it true that your children have stayed with your sister?
No, ma'am.
Well, isn't that what you just said when we went into the breakout room? Did you not say that?
I said one of my children.
So
One of
one of your
daughter.
children,
Go ahead.
one of your children stays with your sister while you're gone in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And do you have a history of having bipolar and suicide attempts, ma'am?
George, I'm going to object irrelevant to who stay at the house.
Well,
And
Your
this is
Honor,
not-
that's
this
very
is not-
relevant
this-
in this case. That's very relevant. Her behaviors have been such that my client has had to keep his daughter from coming into the house because of these behaviors of this woman.
Objection irrelevant as to who get the house.
So these parties don't have any children together, right?
Exactly.
But he has a child that's been exposed to these really bad behaviors to the point my client can't have his own 10-year-old daughter in the house.
I have to ask. He only have visitation, weekend visitation, first, third, and fifth weekend.
So I'll sustain the objection at this point. You can ask your next question.
So, ma'am, so when you've come here on the weekends, and when you've been in Puerto Rico and you've come to the U.S. on the weekends, where have you stayed?
I'm going to object to the form of the question. You assume that she only come here on weekend. She told you she worked 4 days in Puerto Rico. So I object to assuming a fact, not in evidence.
I'll sustain the objection. You can just rephrase your question, Ms. Lucio.
So when you come into the U.S., where have you been staying when you come back to the U.S.?
At home.
And who's there?
My son.
And isn't Mr. Kiryoga there as well?
No, ma'am.
So your testimony under oath today is that he has not been living there.
He has only been coming 1 to 2 days a week.
I'll pass the witness.
Any other questions?
That's one your question. This your daughter that was living with your sister when you are gone. Is it the one that he was harassing?
Yes.
Is that the reason why your son stayed in
I'm
the
going to
house?
object to leading. I'm going to object to leading.
Sustain.
So you have reason why she stayed there with your sister while you're not there.
Yes, I do.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Ndugwe, do you have any questions for?
I have no questions for that witness.
Thank you. Mr. Ndugwe, do you have any questions for the father?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, the husband, excuse me. Go ahead.
Mr. Quiroga, right? That's your
Yes,
last. Okay. I want to make sure I pronounce it right. You work for your father, isn't that correct, sir?
that is correct.
And your father pay you $500 cash and $700 in check, yes or no?
Nope.
How does your father pay you?
It fluctuates weekly.
Let me
It just
put it this way.
depends.
Let's strike it. He pay you some cash and pay you some check, yes or no?
No, he does not.
He does not. Do you understand your testifying on the oath, sir?
I'm telling the complete truth. There's no reason for me to lie,
Okay.
and I can prove it.
Sir, your father live in a 3-bedroom house, yes or no?
Yes,
Okay. And he only lived there with your stepmother, yes or no?
so I live at 201 Aston Drive, Richardson, Texas 75081.
Objection non-responsive.
Stand.
Sir, I said that your father lived with your stepmother. He and your stepmother are the only people that live in that 3-bedroom house, yes or no?
Yes,
Okay. And how long have you been working with your father, sir?
a year.
So you have a good relationship with your father, right?
I do.
Okay. So you can move into one of those 2 bedrooms that is vacant in your father's house. Isn't that correct?
Me and my dad's relationship does have not has
Objection
nothing to do.
non-responsive. We call for yes or no.
No,
I'm gonna object to Mr. Ndikwe is not even letting him answer the question. He's just interrupting him and I don't even know what the question is with.
Council, call for yes or no.
Sir,
Sir,
hold
your
on.
mom.
Stop.
Oh,
Sir,
sorry.
if he asks for a question, if he asks you a question, calls for yes or no, just answer it with yes or no if you're able to. And then your attorney can ask additional questions. Mr.
Yes,
Ndukwe,
sir.
go ahead.
Okay.
it's your honor.
Your mother live in 4-bedroom house, isn't that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And he lived there with one of your brother, is that correct?
she does.
Okay. So there is another 2 free bedroom you can move in, sir. Isn't that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
There is another 2 bedroom in your mother's house you can move in. Isn't that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Sir, your wife is one that have been paying the mortgage since the day after you guys purchased the house. Is that correct?
say that again. I didn't hear you.
Your wife has been the one paying the mortgage since the time you guys purchased the house. Isn't that correct?
That is not correct.
Okay. Do you have any evidence that you paid mortgage to that house?
Yes, I can show you my direct deposits from where I was working at when we got the house.
You don't have it here today, do you?
I don't, but I can get it.
Okay. And then at the time, after you guys married, you and your wife opened a joint account. Isn't that correct?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And she has $12,500 in that account before you put your money there. Isn't that correct?
I'm not sure of that. I don't remember. I haven't looked at the statements.
Okay. So the answer is you don't know. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
The answer is that you don't know. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And she spent about $3,050, including appraisal and inspection and the other expenses that was made before the house was purchased. Isn't that correct?
We did.
Sir, do you have any evidence that you spent your own money, $3,050? Yes or no?
You can look at my direct deposits.
Objection, non-responsive. Answer my question. Do you have evidence that
Your Honor,
you...
I'm gonna wait. Your Honor, he made an objection and then doesn't let you rule and then tells him to answer.
Just give us 15 minutes. I'm just trying to rush my time.
You're
That's
out,
why.
you're out of time now. So, Mr. Ndukwe, do you have any questions you'd like to ask your client?
Yes, I do. Mr. Quiroga, how long have you resided in 201 Aston Drive, Richardson?
Since August 2017.
And have you moved out at any point during that time?
Not at any point, no, ma'am.
And you have a daughter that's 10 years old, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And does she have a bedroom at that house?
She does not.
She did have a bedroom at that house. Isn't
She
that
did.
correct?
Answer. She said it does not.
Sir,
Yeah, she had her own room.
does she currently have a room?
She currently does not have a room
And why does she not have a room now?
because my wife took everything out. And no, it wasn't just a bed. She took everything out, including her clothes and everything.
And did she throw it in the garage?
She did. It's in the garage.
And so after that, have there been other behaviors on your wife's part that have caused you to worry about bringing your daughter around the house?
Yes.
What kind of behaviors have those been that worry you?
Just, calling the police for no reason.
Objection irrelevant
Screaming.
as behavior. There is this divorce does not involve children. Is irrelevant.
I'll allow him to answer. The objections are overruled. I'll allow him to answer that question.
So what other things has she done that make it where it's difficult for you to have your daughter there?
So she goes through these bipolar episodes randomly. And it's just
Their lack of a medical opinion. He's not an expert.
she's medic.
For him to just provide, just not as a medical opinion, just his lay opinion.
So you can say, Mr. Kirigo, what you witnessed her do.
Sorry.
You can say what you've witnessed her doing.
Oh, well, I mean, there's been plenty of times where she's, tried to commit suicide, or there's times where she tried to jump out of the car in front of all of our kids. And they can.
I'm gonna object. I'm gonna object as irrelevant, non-responsive. There is a statement here that they don't have children. So why is it referring to our kids?
The objection's overruled. You can finish answering the question.
You can continue, Mr. Kirioga.
So there's been plenty of times where, she's, tried to commit suicide. I have proof of the times where I've taken her to the hospital for that. If you were to question any of the kids, they could tell you the time where, she tried to jump out of the vehicle while we were driving in front of all of them. It's just, these random bipolar episodes that she goes through, and, it's something that, it hurts not just my kid, her kids as well. So, all of that stuff is, just it all just bunches up together, and, it's just, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to, to go through that, especially when there's kids involved.
So after your child's things were thrown in the garage, was that about a month ago?
I think it was a little bit over a month ago.
At that point, did you tell that child's mother to not bring your daughter for a period of time until you could get this result because of fear of your daughter being around?
Objection, lady.
Yes, ma'am.
Sustained.
Okay, so did you have to take precautions with having that child back to the house?
Yes, I did.
What did you have to do?
I did, I would have to, make sure I was around and she wasn't there. Or, maybe not even bring her around, I would just go pick her up and, just spend time with her somewhere else, and then, just really not bring her around the house.
And so you testify, or you haven't testified yet, but how your wife has been gone over a period of time, and what is your testimony about how long that she's been gone from the marital home?
Objection, leading and compound question.
Overruled. What is your testimony about how long she's been gone? That's her question. Answer that question.
She has been gone these past, for sure, 3 weeks. She has not been coming home on the weekends.
So you haven't seen her in at least 3 weeks?
I haven't seen her in at least 3 weeks.
And so,
overruled.
where and her children staying in the home with you?
Her son, and then her daughter. I have no idea where she took her daughter. I figured, she would have took her daughter with her, but I have no idea where her daughter stays.
Objection, non-responsive after the son.
Sustained.
So does the son stay in the house?
Yeah, he's been staying by himself.
Objection, non-responsive after, yeah.
Sustained.
Okay, and so the son has been staying in the home while his mother's been gone.
Right.
And do you have any issue with her son's continuing to stay there if he wants to, up until we can get to a mediation?
I have no issues whatsoever.
Do you get along well with her son?
I do.
And she's not had any issues leaving her son there with you, knowing full well that you're there, correct?
Correct.
Objection, leading.
Has she expressed anything to you about having concerns about her son with you?
Not at all.
And right now, are you able to make the mortgage payments on the house?
I am.
And has she told you whether she's coming back to live there or not?
She has not told me anything.
Was she living there full time the month before last? Or, so you said she's been gone for at least 3 weeks. Before
was
that,
gone-
was she living there?
Yeah, I mean, she was gone this past 3 weeks, and then prior to that,
Objection,
she was gone for like
non-responsive.
another 2 weeks.
And after, yeah.
Okay, so she was gone for 3 weeks to work. You said before that, was she also gone?
Yeah, before that, she was gone to Puerto Rico again for like 2 weeks, I believe. And then before that, like the whole month before that, she was in Mexico.
So when you asked initially that you be getting exclusive right of the house, was your concern that she was there every day at that time, or was it that just more that you didn't want her to pop in and out of the house?
I just didn't want her to pop in and out of the house.
Had that been the issue you were having?
Right.
So overall, had you been the person residing there primarily for the last 3 months?
Yes, ma'am.
And of those days that in the last 3 months, how many nights do you believe she's even spent there?
Maybe 15, 20, maybe.
Out of the last 90 days.
Right.
And so as long as she's coming in and out of the house, are you going to be able to bring your own daughter to visit you?
No.
And again, you're willing to pay the mortgage on the house each month
Yes, ma'am.
directly to the mortgage company.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking the court to award you exclusive use of the home until we can get to a mediation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking the court to order that you pay for the mortgage?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking the court to order y'all to go to mediation in
Yes,
the next
ma'am.
90 days?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have an ability to take your daughter and live somewhere else during this time period?
Judge, I'm gonna object to assuming the fact that in evidence, he doesn't have custody of his child, so he only visit him on weekend basis. And the question implied that he lived with his daughter.
Your Honor, it absolutely is relevant because if he can't, his daughter, whether he
the
has a right to 30 days in the summer. I mean,
Counsel instead, can he take his daughter to go live?
The objection's overruled. You can answer the question.
so Jose, are you allowed to have your daughter for the month of July according to your custody order?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this point, are you able to have her for the month of July in that home?
Nope.
Okay, you're out of time as well. Let me ask the wife. So, ma'am, you said that your Puerto Rico job, you have 2 weeks left on it, but that doesn't have, I'm sorry, sorry, not 2 weeks, 60 days left, but that doesn't have to be in Puerto Rico. Is your plan, take out the house issue for a second, pretend like the house issue is not a thing. Would you be going to Puerto Rico but for this house?
I will not be traveling any further more to Puerto Rico.
Okay, and why has that changed?
It never changed. It's a 30-day contract for a Puerto Rico company, Luma Energy.
Okay, so why did you have to go in the previous months but not now?
Luma Energy was taking over the electricity for Puerto Rico, and they require all the implementation team to be at Puerto Rico in case there was a fire that we needed to fix.
Okay. Mr. Ndukwe, what's your email address?
Judge is Vincent, you put here at the last, which is Vincent. Just spell Vincent and put here last _office@yahoo.com.
Miss Lucia?
It's Julie at jluciolaw.com.
Thank you. All right, I'll consider the testimony of both parties and then I'll send you a ruling this week. Thank you.
Are we excused?
Yes.
Could you also include, But can I ask one question before? We've agreed to mediate. What we didn't agree on, it wasn't that we didn't agree. We were kind of stumbling around who could mediate for us. And in the event that we don't come up one that we agree on, could you name a mediator in there for us, please?
Yes. I will do that.
Judge,
Thank you.
can you appoint Judge Harris? Amen. I don't like.
Do the parties have the funds to pay Judge Harris?
Judge,
That was my question.
I believe, given that his client have more than $85,000, he has the money. I believe my client can come up. She charged about $1,600. I really want to go to mediation and settle a case. I don't want to waste my time at mediation. And my experience is that when people pay too much money at mediation, it forces them to take it serious than when they go like places like Patrick Rogers, where they don't pay money. He's laughing.
No, it's funny. I mean, it's funny because you said pay too much money.
I
understand, I understand what you're saying.
I don't have objections to Judge Harris, but I haven't been able to privately discuss.
All right.
I haven't been able to privately discuss the fees with my client to know if he has the funds.
$1,600 is too much money. People will take it serious because they don't want to lose money like that.
Yeah,
that's
why. Just so you know, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at the truth of it. It's true. If people pay for something, then they're more likely to
take it serious.
Yes, and I definitely don't want any of the free services. Trust me, I don't think that those are helpful either. I'm all for a really good mediator, and generally I expect to pay $1,000 per side. And I love Judge Harris, but I haven't privately been able to talk to my client about the reality of whether he has funds or not.
All right. All right, I'll consider her as well. And I'll send something to you in the next few days.
Okay. Are we excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know how to close this. How to get